Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Inside of the Deal. The player in question, Ryan Hampshire, quite excited to do something on this, as I feel like Ryan, a lot of the time, possibly for the last 3 or more months, people ask you how you feel as an agent when your players come off a recovery of an ACL and he's back to trying to get to his full fitness and he's out of contract. So there's a few things on this that we can go into, but hopefully this gives you a good insight. We do these things to give you the insight. We kept it private. Wigan got to the Friday, announced it on their media day. Mixed reactions, I'd say, in a lot of places. I'll give you my idea why I think it could be one of the best pieces of business that they do this year, that any club does this year. Firstly, Wigan would not have signed a player of Ryan's magnitude if A, they didn't do a full fitness test on him, whereabouts he is in his rehabilitation. The S&C went right into he spent about 2.5 hours non-stop with all the staff at Wigan. He'd also been to Wigan 3 or 4 times in space of five or 6 weeks. And Wigan, I don't, and I'm trying to say this as honest as I can. Wigan seemed a little bit like, we need to get to know, is Ryan the same person he was when he was 19, 20, when he famously were a big young star at Wigan? And people give all their opinions each way. Ryan were actually going to come today, but they've got training. He was going to come and give his opinion. But I'll give you what I think, and then it's a bit of honesty. Ryan were a young lad who had the world on his shoulders as a young player. He came through at Wigan, he exploded onto I can remember watching the game where he exploded. We already knew Ryan Hampshire was going to be thought of that player because we'd seen the academy final at Headingley and he was fantastic in that Wigan side with George Williams and the lads. Ryan already had a big reputation of this young electric player. Probably at 16, 15, Ryan probably right up there with any player I've ever seen. He broke into the first team, and then this is how I see it, he's always been then compared to George Williams going that way, England, Canberra, Wigan, now at Warrington, big money, this, that, and Ryan seemed to have blah, blah, blah. But if actually somebody's studying us to follow Ryan's career, he's actually done very well everywhere he's gone. I picked Ryan up at Lee, when he was at Lee, and he'd left Wigan, he'd ended up at Lee. Lee absolutely loved him. His stats, what Kieran Cunningham famously gave me, we met Kieran, and we got his stats out, and they were unbelievable. He'd been 160 metres a game for full-back, by the way. He'd started it as an half. I preferred him at full-back, I've always said that. So Lee offered him a great deal. He went to Lee, and with the season they got relegated, a lot of players lost their thing, but Lee would have had massive raps on Ryan. He then went, obviously, famously, I think he went to Cass, and he arrived at Cass, and he was fabulous for Cass. I can remember Luke Gale ringing me and a couple of the lads saying, wow, it's exactly what we wanted. Through whatever reason, I don't know whether it were places, I don't know whether Zach, whatever, but Ryan ended up playing 3 or 4 positions as a utility. I think he played half. He ended up on the wing for Cass. He ended up playing full. So Wakefield. Every year we went to Wakefield for talks. It was hilarious. We thought we'd done a brilliant job. We thought everyone were happy. For some reason, towards the end of the year, I was Rocky. I think he was always deemed as being petulant and deemed as being a player who, if it didn't go his way, he won't be happy. I can only say from my end with Rocky, he's never been but absolutely 100% a person, a lovely lad. Yeah, I think would Rocky stand up for his son if he felt he wasn't being treated right? Yes, and that's maybe the difference in a world of rugby where it's wind your neck in. Rocky probably didn't follow that suit. If Rocky didn't get picked, would he knock on the door? Yes, he would, and ask the reasons why. He's quite intellectual on rugby, so he'd certainly challenge that decision. Has that gone against him? Probably, yes. But I'm going to question anybody who wants to do it with me. You ask all the clubs, Wakey, Cass, he famously were going to sign for Hull KR, that didn't go through to Wigan.
You just said Lee.
Lee, and anybody who Ryan's had anything to do with, and the lads, and say, has Ryan ever not given 100%? Has Ryan not been an unbelievable player? Ryan's full of potential. I think the best is to come. And here's a stat for you who wants to know. When we got the phone call for Wigan, it was Matty Pete driven. This is no doubt. Matty Pete had so much time for Ryan Hampshire from a young man and right through. What I love about this deal is Matty kept friends with Ryan. Every club he was at, Matty's name comes up all the time. Matty's name come up. Ryan would say, Matty's rang me to see how I am. This is a massive journey of a 6-year journey where they've left each other. Now, when they left each other, was Ryan deemed as being, this kid who didn't quite fulfil the potential at Wigan, going to be a world star, thinks he's already a world star? I think this is just a young man growing up and realising the pressure they put on him and then saying, I want to play first team now, I'm 19, let me go. And Wigan had an unbelievable team. I think they won back-to-back championships, so Ryan probably could have been managed better, with his expectations. I think he'd take a bit on chin. I think the club take a bit on chin, but whatever. It tells you a lot about Wigan and Matty Pete, that Matty Peter's track record, and always knew that if he got in a position of being a head coach, he'd come for Ryan. Because here's one for you. Ryan's been doing stuff at clubs who historically have been in the bottom 4, bottom 5, okay? So sometimes with Cass, mid-table, let's have a look. Wakefield, it were always whatever. I think with Lee, it was a relegation year. You're going into a team who are going to be playing 80% good ball. They're going into a team who win 90% of the games. So suddenly Ryan's now, no excuses, he's now in there and he has a chance of playing for potentially the second favourites or favourites to win Super League this year. So most of the games Wigan will win this year. Ryan's spent years and years and years. Yardage, has improved all his attributes defensively. Everyone knows Ryan can attack. Everybody knows he can attack from half. He can attack from full back. I think he's recorded 2 last year, 2 GPSs above 10, which means he's electrically paced. Ben John Bishop said famously, when Ryan plays half, it opens up for you because he can skip, the Johnny Lomax skip. He can step in and skip round and put you in. This lad's got no excuse to become, and this could be one of the greatest signings I've ever seen. That's put a lot of pressure on Wigan and Matty. Matty might go, wow.
I think the one question I think the fans would probably want you to ask, and if I'm reading Twitter, a lot of the criticism was based on the fact that they've signed him, but where's he going to fit into that Wigan side? I think that's because they've obviously got Jai and Bevan who can both fill in for each other at full back and wing. You've already got Cade Cust and Harry Smith, who's been given the 7 shirt. I think that's a lot of the things I read on Twitter was like, where's he going to...
Well, you've just said, or Jimmy has on the full 80s, just said Leeds need 3, cover at 3, cover this, cover that. So Leeds are definitely covering half. Wigan are covering half. He can definitely play fullback. He can definitely play wing. There's 3.
But they're strong in them positions, aren't they? I think that's they're deep in them positions already.
I don't think they're deep in halves. I don't think Jai can play half. That's my opinion. I don't think it's effective for him to play half. I don't think Bevan definitely can't play half. So you're going to put Bevan there. There's a change. I think Ryan can. I think Ryan's a better half than them 2. Fact. And he'll prove it. And I think Ryan could go as number 3 fullback and do it. I think he'd cover at wing and do it. And for what it's cost them, remember this, is it good business? I don't ever get involved in what it's cost them. Let me tell you, it's very good business. Because as Moneyball goes, to get a player who's playing 100 Super League games or 120 Super League, it might be more, and still be his age and the fitness levels, he never carries weight, Joe. So he never carries weight. His rehab never carries. He won't be somebody who has to strip. Ryan's already stripped. So I think he did some sprinting last week. Ryan's already up to where he's going to be. His fitness levels, he probably doesn't need 3 or 4 months to get into that stride. He plays light. A lot of light players who play like that. Me being in most sports, and it took me 6 months to do anything because I can't get my cardio going to that, what I need to be. Ryan probably walks around at 82, 83. Probably 82, 83 now. He plays at 82, 83. So do you get me? There's no difference at all in anything. Whereas some players, oh my God, I can remember seeing a lot of players who had ACLs. So Danny famously...
No, I'm saying a lot of the criticism weren't based on his injury.
Oh, yeah, no, the ones I got were saying...
It was just based on how many games
the ones we got was signing a player with an ACL. That's why I'm answering
on Twitter,
this.
On Twitter I didn't see that.
So we got a lot of that, and that's what a lot of the Wigan club, I think, were saying. Again, who would you get in any Super League club? Would you get a player of that ability for the money they've paid and who can play in 3 positions? Potentially very good. A player who the coach knows better than any other player, and a player who, if anybody does the stats, and Ryan's going to get the stats, I was bringing them today, when he's played for the clubs, his stats are ridiculous.
Brilliant, aren't they? Yeah.
So he's everything about him. The question mark again from a lot of people. Well, again, if a guy signs you who's tracked you since you've been 21-year-old, and he gets the head job and he remembers all the things and he's got a friendship with you, this will work. And it'll work because if Ryan knows already going into Wigan, Ryan knows he's not a starting choice. There's a difference. At Lee, Wakey and Cass, it wasn't promised, but it was to be a starting player. Ryan used to get upset about his squad number because he'd think he'd squad number 6 and then he'd get number 18. He'd be like, oh God, they've said this to me all year. They've done it again. Ryan knows he's probably squad number 30. There's not a big hang up about it. Only thing Ryan's looking, he's forward and going, well, I start here, and I'm going to make my way that way. Whereas before, Ryan started in squad number there in his head, and always seemed to be disappointed. I think it's one of the bravest moves by Wigan as a club, and I salute you. I salute Matty Pete even more, because I think he's hung his hat on it. And a young coach coaching a club as big as Wigan, and the pressure he'll have to win things, to also put Ryan Hampshire in that mix, tells you why this lad's going to be a top coach for the next 20 years to come. Because they don't do it. A lot of them are shit, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't dare bring more of that on. You've got enough pressure to win stuff, and then you go, I'm going to get Ryan Hampshire, and I'm going to bring him back to Wigan, where he left, and a lot of people were quite negative about when he left. Big call for a big coach, and I think it's one of the best calls. It's a fantastic deal. It's a 3-year deal. Ryan will go back to live at Wigan. He's already making his way over, so he can be close to training ground. I think you'll find that this will be a sensational call, and I'll stick my head on that. So thank you on that, and I think Ryan's going to come on the show in the next couple of weeks. Joe, quick one for you. You did this deal about 4 weeks ago. A lot of people have been so excited about it. I noticed yesterday he scored. A lot of people said he's... When I first saw him play for Wales, I thought it was an unbelievable player. Then you told me that he contacted us here and he'd asked if we could, go and have a look at him. Fed fans are going to be lucky. Kyle Evans.
Yeah, Kyle, around the World Cup. Actually, Corey Hall got to give Corey a shout. Says he's looking for someone to represent him to help him out, and he doesn't have anyone at the moment, and he wants to play. Wakey are releasing him, and to be honest with you, Corey himself, obviously similar position. I think Kyle plays more wing, but can play centre.
Corey want him out of the way?
No, the opposite. Corey couldn't believe. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To say there's no only been he couldn't believe they were releasing Kyle. To be honest, he went, Joe, he's awesome, and he obviously said to us, didn't he? So I think from there, Kyle. I spoke to him. Brilliant lad, nice lad. Got some family all around the country. So he was just trying to find his next home, really, and a few champ clubs were after him. He just wanted somewhere. I think Kyle in his heart wants to go back to Super League and prove him. He's a bit older, Kyle, isn't he? He's had a crazy journey where he's didn't play until he was like 22, 23, and then moved up the ranks incredibly quickly, and then ended up at Wakefield at, I think, 27. He's a lot older, where now he's just about in his 30s. So he's not got long left. So I think he wants
last chance saloon.
Yeah, he wants the best. Well, not even his last chance, because he's never. Yeah, it's a journey. It's a late journey. He's a late peaker, which probably means he's got more in his legs than someone who's played for 10 years straight. You know what I mean? It's more. I think a lot of age is done on how many years you've been at it rather than your actual physical age. So I think he's looking to get back. He's looking to have a massive year, and hopefully either with Fev. I think that's why he picked Fev more than anywhere else. I think he saw the Super League journey happening there. I think obviously being probably one of the favourites to win championship, I think he sees that avenue to get back to Super League, and I think he wants a year or two at the top level and proving that he can be that player.
Plenty of offers, Joe. Did he have plenty of offers?
Yeah, from quite a lot of champ. I think with Super League, obviously, maybe with Wakefield releasing him, they weren't sure. He's an unproven commodity, really. And then obviously Wales hit in the World Cup, and he was one of the stars of the show for Wales. John Keir famously says he's he was Wales as one of the best players. He couldn't believe Kyle. He loves Kyle. So yeah, quite a lot of champ clubs were after him, offered him, and like I said, I think he went to Fev because he wants that chance to hit. He wants that chance to hit the big leagues, have a good year, a few in Super League, and say he did it.
Yeah, well, the level I got brought in on the deal, I think you said he'd had some interest, and then we got it sealed, didn't we? Listen, big future. Fed fans seemed quite happy after yesterday, anyway. I think a few clubs could be a little bit cheesed off. They never went for Carly, like you said. He could be a backdoor signing, and he could shock the world. He's a big physical presence. What I found weird were after the World Cup, a lot of people who loved him, when we actually mentioned him to them clubs, they never got back to us, and I thought, wow. That's a weird one, because whoever watched the World Cup would have said he was one of the standouts.
Yeah.
So it'd be quite interesting if the same clubs next year say, oh God, we probably missed him. Good on Featherstone for spotting it.
I think it'd be good for him to get week in, week out rugby. Obviously at Wakefield he struggled to secure that top spot, and maybe if he went to Super League he'd have to go and do that. I actually don't mind we actually had talks about this, what level do you want to go in at, and I think we decided on going Fev so we can play week in, week out, hopefully get a bunch of tries, and then show obviously again the Rugby League world what he can do, more than fighting for his spot, maybe being in and out. I think he needed a year, because he's not had that consistent year yet, to go and prove to him this is my standard, this is how good I am, and then from there I think he can kick on to most English.
Well, he kept the guy they're talking about at Leeds, Lewis Roberts. He kept Lewis Roberts out of the Wales side, so yeah. I think he must be some prospect. John Keir's called that, by the way, but a lot of people are talking Lewis up, and Kyle kept him out for the full World Cup. So great signing for Fed. That's Kyle Evans and Ryan Hampshire. Thank you, and that's a very quick 10 minutes inside of the deal. Thank you.